So we're going to do this. I want you, we're going to raise the vibration even more. Sky, I believe in you too. That's such a beautiful song. Thank you so much. And we are creating a magnetic home, a magnetic that sends out into the ethers. Come here, we want to love you up. So I want, if you're able, to stand up, if you can. And if you can't, it's fine too. And I want you to look at your magnetic. I'm talking before my head's going. I want you to look at your neighbor and say, I'm magnetic, you're magnetic. I'm magnetic, you're magnetic. I'm magnetic, you're magnetic. I'm magnetic, you're magnetic. Woo! Yes, you are. We are going to embody that, and I love getting the vibration up and going because we take this out into our everyday life. All right, and so now we can, good morning. Good morning, Prescott, and our virtual family. We are so happy that you are with us today, and we are blessed that you took the time to give this gift to yourself. Hazel and I were having this discussion about those who are given much, much is required. And what we had this brief conversation, which always changes my talk, but I have to talk about it, is that part that is required is the part you give to yourself. That what is required is the dedication and the time that you get to know thyself, to give to thyself, to uncover thyself, which goes along with our talk today. The other second beautiful synchronicity is my email, or one of them, is Inspired Rev, the Inspired Rev. My license plate says Inspired Rev, and we were coming out of the office, and what is on the office door? Inspired. One mind, right? If that doesn't tell you I'm supposed to be here, I will. I'm supposed to be here. All right, so today's talk title is Go Where the Ocean Takes You, Answering the Call of Presence. Well, we already discussed there's one mind, and so really the whole process of this and our philosophy is tuning into that one mind and tuning out the small mind, that little voice that we have to learn to distinguish the difference between. And when I first found Science of Mind and I walked into Mile High and I sat down and they kept talking about the call. And I really walked out thinking I'm not on the call list. I'm on the do not call list. I'm on the D&I, I think they call it. And people would talk about these stories about how they had this girl was running in the park and all of a sudden everything lit up and she fell to her knees and knew God. And I'm like, I want some of that. But it took a while for me to discover God, my true self, my higher self, through my own commitment and dedication, my own answering the call. And I would just really want to share with you today. I just noticed here that I did not put my joke. So that's okay, because, being inspired, and I think the joke with the microphone and everything was funny enough, right? But I really think that Ernest Holmes tuned into this too. Ernest Holmes says, a realization of the presence of God is the most powerful healing agency known to the mind of men. And I like to tune into his words, the mind of men. So the minds of men, we have our personality self that drives and works and has relationships and knows how to cook and clean and, can have whatever. But we also have our self, our higher self, our true self. And we're often led by that little mind, and we find ourselves in a community like this to expand who we truly are, to, I like to say, push out, but really we're not pushing out, we're drawing into our heart and accepting the reality of the way life is, and we're bringing it in and healing it, if you'd like to use that word, or revealing the higher and true presence of God and waking up to the synchronicities of life. It's so beautiful when you start to wake up for it. Like it's miracle. I think I shared I have a little book of miracles in my workshop, and I go back and reflect on those because when we are in a dark moment or a dark night, we can easily forget how God showed up just moments before. In Dory, or Finding Nemo, I love this. In Finding Nemo, Dory is on the hunt for the EAC, the Eastern Australian coastline or current. Thank you. Husbands, they like to correct you. And I let him. He's riding on the sea backs of turtles, and he wakes up, after having a really rough time, and the turtle says, "Yo, dude, what are you doing?" And Dory says, "I'm trying to find the EAC," and the turtle says, "You're in it. Just go with the flow." And that whole movie, that's what stood out to me. Something in my higher self said, "Tracey, you're in it. You are it." And it took a little bit of time from that realization to get to this stabilization of there is something that the mind of Tracey can always count on. The mind of Tracey had to learn to trust. The mind of Tracey had to let go of disappointments and failures and happy little mistakes. And the mind of Tracey had to be humbled a little bit to the higher vibrations of God so that we could invite that in and learn to trust it. And there are some days that I still don't. But when a miracle like this happens, me standing here, you can't deny it, right? So I like to use my story, my own personal experiences, because they're the only ones you got, right? We can go out on the playground, we can taste an orange, we can play in the sand, and you can say to your neighbor, "Oh, the sand, come on in," or come into the current, you're in it. And you can only describe to them your personal experience of it, right? And they're left trying to really understand the text of what you're talking about, the taste, the sounds, the smells. But unless you experience the divine for yourself, it is only a conversation. And once you discover this part of yourself, your truth, your higher power, whatever you want to call it, God, universe, spirit, it is a you. You are it. And sometimes what I have found is in the pursuit of this, that there is the source is a voice resonant. It resonates with you. It calls you forth. It is a yearning. But the mind is a story filled with worry. If you want to know you're in the little mind, you are typically in worry, shame, blame, guilt, and it normally is going out instead of coming in. But the beauty of that gift to you is that triggers have you turn around when you are capable and accept the situation that is going on. We bring it into our heart. It is revealed to us maybe at the age of when that trigger or trauma could have occurred for us. And then we are able to wholly step in and stop judging our past self. We don't have to judge that 10, 15. I made a lot of mistakes at 15, okay? But you know what? I look back and all of them led me to here. And they all led me to have and be prepared to be a minister to give you some beautiful story to talk about, right? And the glorious journey to my higher and true self. And this week at work, I had an interaction with my boss, and I can sometimes take things a little personally. And she was so loving, but my little mind was stuck in worry about something that wasn't even happening. I made it all up. And I went to talk to my husband, and he's like, "Is that really what happened?" Yes, why aren't you listening to me? The tears are coming, trying to make a decision about how all of this will work. And of the voice in my mind said, "Why do you toil? Even my lilies don't toil. They are fed. They are nurtured. The sun shines on them." And in that moment, a stillness came over me, and I made a decision. And I made a decision that this was brought to me, and I get to step into it fully. And I know that fear is the mind, and the worry, and love is the voice resonant. And to be fully present. I have goosebumpies. I know I'm telling you the truth because I have goosebumpies. But it was such a beautiful thing because, for me leaving everything that I believe that I have worked for 8 years at a company in this, I call it false sense of security because is there really security in work? But the little mind likes to think there is. And so I decided, no, it's time for me to step into that dream. The door opened, the silence came, and my teacher, one of my teachers, Glory G. Hummingbird, she has a beautiful name, she's like, "Tracey, I've been watching you and our little group chat be in your mind for a whole week, and I am calling you out. She's like, I know you need dental work and you need the insurance and and your husband needs to feel safe, but you know what? What got you here? And I was like, oh, the voice resonant. So I was able to look at my mind, and I share that story with you, and I will often share stories with you because finding that higher self and knowing thyself is your experience and letting you know that you're not alone. This is what the little mind does to us. It makes us feel like we're not alone, right? And what the voice resonant says is there is one mind, which Hazel reminded me of this morning. And I thought, oh, that is okay, I'm gonna do the turtle, the raddest way to understand that, right? That we are in it. We are not separate from it, but the little mind creates division and separation. There's you and me, but there isn't. There is one mind. But when we're looking from it from the aspect of the little mind, the personality self, the voice that is worry, then we create two. But if we understand the wholeness, then there is only one. And so this is something else my teacher said to me. I was asking her a question yesterday in our little Zoom meeting, and I sometimes when you say something and you think you sound so profound, and a good teacher will go, well, I just have one thing to say about that. She's like, yeah, Tracey, I can see it that way, but I kind of just look at everything as the whole. And I was like, oh, there's my divisiveness, right? And the thing that I love and encourage about classes and sitting up in front of somebody who has done the work is that to learn to speak freely so they can catch those deep-seated and held beliefs that we're speaking from. And I can tell you when you're afraid to speak because they're going to catch you, that's when you should speak, because that is the mind telling you to hide. And the voice resonant is telling you to say it so someone can show you that's where it's at. And as soon as you hear it, shift changes. Shift. It's a total shift. A higher consciousness reveals itself, and you walk out the door, and the sun is shining on you, and you're like, oh, and then you're driving down the freeway, and someone cuts you off, and you're like, where did that go? But it didn't go anywhere. It takes time. It takes time to move habitually for eons or lifetimes, if you will. We have given all of our attention to the objective world and very little to the subjective world. And so this is our habit to go out. So you are yourself already, but the habit is to believe that you are the name and conditions and theories and philosophies that you were groomed to be. But the truth is, the only thing that we need to realize is that is the lie, and you are the truth. You are already in the EAC. And man, we're going to have a good time, right? We are going to have a good time. I want you to wake up. Wake up to truly who you are. The presence is fulfilling. It fills you up. It does not empty you. If you are feeling empty, you are caught in mind. Phone a friend. Man, I'm worried about something. I'm caught in mind. Can you get me back? Can you just point me in the right direction? And I'm telling you, when you're in the mind, you don't really want direction. You don't. You want someone. I play a good victim. And my teacher, Tom, is like, maybe we just got a little victim going on. And he was very gentle about it in the beginning because I didn't really know that that's the approach or the personality that I had developed towards life. And as he unfolded this over 3 years, and now I can totally see it and feel it. And it's not that I want to push it away anymore. Before, I wanted to run from the victim. I didn't want anyone to see that I felt like a victim. And I wanted to hide it. And you build this spiritual piety where you don't let anyone help you. You're like, I'm a practitioner, or I'm a minister. And you go into these meetings and you're kind of full of yourself, but in a different way. And then that, too, is a next step on the rung. And then that gets dissolved until it's finally all purified because it's all brought home. And all is revealed by showing you that you have made no mistakes. You have done nothing wrong. There is not one thing that you can do that would ever make you not who you truly are. There's only the mind, the little mind, that is filled with worry. but the source is a voice resonant that will always be who you are. And so we start to look as a practitioner and a minister when you're sitting with somebody and you listen. I think the gift of a practitioner really is the attunement of the voice resonant to listen so that you can hear from someone who is willing to share with you, to point out to them in the most difficult time of their life with true compassion and empathy, because the voice resonant is always truly compassionate and empathetic, where their next step might be, if they're willing. Because we have choice. There was a choice for me to stay at my job or to step into this fully. And this is the other thing Glory G said to me was, I'm so glad you saw there's a choice. But when in my little worry mind that's trying to stay safe and not re-experiencing life in a financial lack or limitation, because all of these things were the things that I was thinking about, and how is this going to happen? And the voice resonant said, haven't I already shown you that? He has. It has. And this is what I want you to know about me, that I am grounded in that truth. And ever so often I can slip, but I have the ability to phone a friend and to be reminded. And my friend Fish, you've all met, she'll say to me, you having a bad day? Oh, maybe you forgot who you are. And I'm like, I didn't forget who I am. My boss. And she's like, there is no boss. You don't get to do that anymore, Tracey. But we do have to have a little leeway and a gentleness to turn people around to show them themselves, right? And we're not, I'm talking about like we're doing the doing, but we're not. We are brought into their presence magnetically, because what you are is the director, the writer, and the character of your own movie. And you bring into you to reflect back to you that which you are and that which needs to be upgraded to 2.0. Right? And so even those relationships that are difficulty are much more profound than the ones that reflect back to you love, because those feel good. And we have a tendency to gravitate to those people. But the reality, if there was no one in friction with us, we are born in friction, we die by friction, and we learn by friction. Those are the people that help us. And I get that some of those traumas are by far more difficult than I could ever imagine. But I promise you, the voice resonant is still there with you. And there is still someone that you can call and phone a friend to. Ernest Holmes says, all of the power of the universe is with you. Feel it, know it, and then act as though it was true. So sometimes our character has to put on a little show, right? We have to sometimes fake it till you make it. And, I've done plenty of this. But what happens is when you start to change your mind, when you start to see yourself and how you respond to others, then a change occurs within. And then these people, maybe they go away. Maybe you find a whole new loving relationship. Bill and I went through a very large change in our lives. Most of you have seen my little man running around here. And, he's loved by many. And I'm kind of the person that is like, mine. You can't have him, he's mine. And the voice resonant reminds me, no, Tracey, I brought him to you so that you could influence him. You are here to guide him. We do not own our children. We are here to point them in the right direction, to be a loving presence and source for them. And through this process and lots of family drama for many years, he is loved by myself and his grandma and another grandma, and we've all learned to share sometimes. And, our relationship, my relationship with his other grandma, it took work. It took me continually going in, continually listening to the voice resonant, letting go of the past, realizing that if you grew, Tracey, other people can grow too. Other people can show up, and she's going to show up the way you see her. So you need to change the way you see, and the way you see will then change the world. And the voice resonant says yes. And the mind of worry calms. And as we study, and as we take classes, and as we require much of ourselves, love becomes us. And then those that show up already, they're willing, and they want to work, and you want to grow. And the world becomes a better place because you have become a better world from the inside out. This is the voice resonant. And with that, I will just leave you just wanting you to know that you, being here today, and you couldn't be in a church and a center like this without having already stepped onto that path or being influenced by someone. And you don't have to go out and go, hey, you should come to my center, although it would be nice, you can. When you go out and you are magnetic and you are kind and loving and beautiful to yourself, we don't have to be that way to others. We have to be that way to ourselves, and we are automatically that way to others. Then they want some of what you have. My elevator speech is, you know, your friends, they'll be great to you. They are the source of great comfort. But if you come where we work, we will take you from where you're at to where you're going. We will reveal the truth of who you are. Your higher self will reign supreme, and you will bring all of your traumas home to rest. And the one voice resonant will be your life unfolding moment by moment. And this is what Ernest Holmes wanted us to know. And this is what I wanted to share for you today. Namaskar. We can if you'd like. I like to say that, are you going to do that, Hazel, or would you like for me? We're working this out.
We're working it, but make sure you're on.
Okay.
And yes, we are working this out. And all I want to say to you, Reverend, and isn't she fabulous, Reverend Tracey, from your new expanded family.
Yay!
Welcome home.
Thank you. Yes!
Welcome home. And would you do us the honor of a spiritual mind treatment?
Yes.
And then, Sky, we can anchor it in song shortly there.
Yes, thank you. I will just like to say that I love to ground my talks as the spiritual mind treatment because they are from spirit to spirit. And it's a magnetic attraction. And thank you for showing up for me and reminding me of who I am. Thank you for welcoming me home. All right, so we just know that there is one mind, one God, one life, and that life is this life right here, right now. As we go within and we start to anchor ourselves in the truth of who we are, in the subjective, as we take time and we commit to our own personal journey, the transformation has already been done. It is a realization of spirit revealing to your little mind that I've got this. There is no need to toil. The sun will come out, the clouds will burst, and the lilies will just be in the valley. They have no worry. The voice resonant is who I am. And I beckon you home as we release all that is false and step into the truth and the nature of who we really are. We take that out into our day, into our life, knowing that it cannot be returned void, because once in truth, always in truth. And we build that character, we build that amount of attention that requires for us to be in that every second of the day, knowing that it is a journey. And journeys take time, and love fills every void of who we are. And we send it forth, out to the neighborhood, out to beautiful Prescott and all the boundaries, into the world, into the universe, knowing it cannot be returned void. I am so grateful for this moment. I am so grateful for you, and so it is.